So, hey guys, we're going to do a little troubleshooting. Um, the question I have for people that are on the stream, can you hear Nancy? I'm going to pull Nancy into the stream. Can
Hello,
you hear
hello.
me?
Yes, you can
We've got
hear
the
me.
we've got the echo. Hang on one second. Nancy, go ahead and talk and see if that fixes it.
I'm gonna talk and see if it
Okay.
fixes it.
And how's that? See, I don't hear Izzy either. Um, not Maybe we do need to pull Izzy back out and log back in. Sorry, everyone. We're going to troubleshoot and see what we can do to get this fixed. Give us about 5 minutes and we'll get with this. Thank you, Stacy. We're going to let Izzy and Nancy log in and out real quick and get them back in. Okay.
Okay, let's just see what happens. Okay, say hello.
Hello. Mindy, how's that? Can you hear me now?
Can't hear you. I could hear Nancy for just a moment and then it went mute. Okay. See, now
Check, check.
so the only mic we're picking up is Nancy's. We're not picking up
You
Nancy's computer.
that is
Right, we're not picking that up. Um, I let's go ahead and it worked earlier. It worked earlier. I'm hearing you both right now. We don't have an echo. So what my curiosity is, when I put Nancy into the stream, then we have the echo. Yes. But when well, let me put you in the stream.
Okay. Check.
Okay, now we have the echo. Hang on. And now so Izzy's computer is the only one that's picking up the audio, that's broadcasting it.
Computer and get down.
But now we have the echo.
Wow.
I'm not sure what the setting is on Nancy's computer that
we
is
didn't change
the
anything. Nothing was changed.
okay, try that.
How
Check.
about
Nope. Try that.
Check.
Nope.
Oh man.
Okay.
take me out of the stream?
There's the stream. I can hear you. So now what we just need to see if the audience can hear you. So we'll give them a second. If you are on the stream, can you hear him at this moment? Oh, yay. Nope, that was me. We tested it yesterday and today. All right. I'm gonna I'm gonna pop out and um just watch the feed. I'm gonna pop out and I'm gonna check the other feeds. Okay. Um it's okay, now try how is that? Kid what it Debbie, did that improve it? Thanks for working with us to fix this. And then we're gonna get into 2026. We'll just wait for Debbie to respond, or someone else can respond if they can hear Israel. Okay. Okay. So it I went ahead and unmuted the one computer. Now let me know if you can hear him and if there's an echo. Yep. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. And yeah, but now you're freaking people out because it looks like you're talking and there's no sound coming. That's awesome. Okay. So um there's no sound. Okay.
Debbie.
Okay, I'm pulling Nancy back in and then now muting. And now there's no sound.
This is so wild.
It worked like a charm earlier. Okay. Okay. So Nancy, I'm going to ask you to go over to your computer and just check the output settings real quick and the input settings. Okay. Um, I hear you just fine. I guess the question is, can they hear you? Debbie, Awaken Consciousness, Stacy, anybody, if you can hear Nancy while she's talking, let me know. Okay. I okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. Nancy, I'm gonna it okay. Israel's computer's muted. go ahead and say something. See, I can't hear you now. So, um, Nancy's computer is not picking up the sound. We're not hearing anything on your computer. So go ahead and turn up the input on your computer. Go ahead and talk. It's probably going to echo. No echo. Can anybody hear Stacy? Debbie, can you hear Nancy at this point? Go ahead, Nancy. There you go. Maybe the microphone may be down to. Go ahead and turn up the output as well. Let's go to 50%, and they can't hear you. So that's not how the input and output isn't helping. Go ahead and pull up your microphone to like 75, and go ahead and pull up your output as well. Okay. Okay. Anybody here? Debbie, Stacy, is that helping at all? Nobody hears anything but me. Okay. Try that. Nope, that's not going to work. So I think the computer needs both the computers need to be in two separate rooms. That's what I think. Hang on. Okay. So I pulled you out of the stream. And the computers need to probably go into two separate rooms. Because one of them's picking up and getting the echo. Let, let's try that. Let's or Nan, let's try that. But if we have to, then what we'll do is shut Nancy's computer off and put Izzy's back on. So we'll try. We may have to try it both ways. Okay, Izzy, can you speak? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can hear me, but we can't hear you. So what we're going to need to do is swap the computers. Or you could try the outputs again. Okay. We hear nothing, Nancy. We probably should just swap the computers. Izzy, can you say something real quick? Yeah, we have no sound. So we're going to swap the computers. Okay. Okay, I'm going to pull Nancy's computer out of the stream. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear Israel?
Okay, here we go.
We have no echo on my end. I can hear you.
Can't hear you at all.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Check, check. Oh, wow. This is wild.
Okay, you can't hear me now. Okay, they're saying better.
Stacy, loudly hear you. I can't read what it says.
Okay, so let's have Nancy
Lonely.
pull up.
No, I can't read
It's okay. Izzy, you can't
it.
hear me. You can't hear me. Okay, so
I can't hear you.
that's okay.
Can you hear
So
me? Should I continue? Here we go.
they hear both of us. That's great. All right, everybody, we're going to let Izzy get ready to start this broadcast in 3, 2, 1.
All right. I think I just heard that I can be heard. If you can hear me, please let me know. And anybody who can let me know, I can still see the feed. And once it's a go, here we go. Nancy, what'd you say? We can hear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, this is absolutely wonderful. Sorry about that. Thank you for your patience, everybody. And let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and jump in full blast. We're not that far behind, but far enough. So here we go. 1. We are finally to the end of 2025. And I made everybody a promise that today, when we gathered here, that we would be talking about the one single technique that at the end of 2026, you could genuinely look back and know that every single thing that you wanted to accomplish, and when I say this, by the way, I mean mind, body, spirit, every single aspect of life. Now, just so you know, today, obviously, we're having a communication gap on here. So, what I'm going to do is just let it roll. If anybody can, please type to me. Let me know that you can see, that you can hear me, just so I know there's interaction, if that is possible. I don't even know exactly what's happening, but either way, here comes the love. So, the technique that I want to talk to you about actually started many, many years ago when I ended up meeting a man by the name of Grant Morrison. And when I said that I was going to teach you one technique, one single technique that could change everything, that technique is called a hypersigil. Now, you might hear it called a hypersigil. You might hear it called a supersigil. And for anyone who may not know what a sigil is, typically a sigil would be when you take something such as a symbol that has meaning, or when somebody wears the cross, when somebody tattoos or adorns themselves in such a way that it has a very specific meaning and it's made symbolic. I'll give you a perfect example: Coca-Cola, Pepsi. Every single corporate logo, essentially, to some degree, is a sigil. Now, in a moment, I'm going to tell you what a hypersigil is. A hypersigil, I originally learned as a narrative. Okay. So, this technique that I'm going to teach you, first, I want to just basically tell you a gist of what you can expect. Imagine a comic book writer by the name of Grant Morrison. Now he wrote Batman, Superman, he wrote all kinds of different fanzines, everything you can imagine under the sun. And what he said is that over the years, while he was doing these comic books, he was one of the main characters. But that main character wasn't him, it was him as a character. So I'm sure you can see where this is going. And when he was drawing his comic books, in one of the scenes, he had drawn that he was sick and in the hospital. Now, the crazy part about that is one day he was sitting in the hospital and sick, and he was reading through the comic book that he had written and had been putting his own story in this world and in this world, right? And that metaphysical anomaly, he was looking at the comic book and he realized at that very moment that he had made himself sick. Now, he also said this, and for anybody who might be coming in or anybody who's just picking this up right now, we are discussing a hypersigil. And the way a man by the name of Grant Morrison, now he saw it from a magical perspective. And what he did is he realized that when he would draw a comic book, in that comic book, his character the more emotion, the more tears, the more love, the more magic that he would put into there. His answered prayers, his answered wishes started to perpetuate as he would draw them. Now, for everybody here that's familiar with self-hypnosis or any other class that we've ever done, what is the one consistent effect that happens in all the self-hypnosis that we've all shared? That is that we're taking the story that our subconscious mind is telling us, and we are changing the symbolism in that story, and we're changing the mile markers and what they mean. Now, here's the really, really cool part about what I'm going to show you today. Grant, one day, as he noticed he was sick in his comic book, he decided he wanted a girlfriend. He was a famous man, and he was doing things where he was out and being a wild man, and he said he was lonely. So he drew the woman of his dreams. And in this comic book, he slowly became the character that fell in love and had a relationship with this person. And sure enough, every day when he would go out into the world, what he was making in the comic book, he was open to finding halfway. So sure enough, and you got to hear this story. It's online. You can find it, and I can actually put a link for you. Grant Morrison said, there she was. And so now, not only was he married to this woman, connected to this woman, and found true love, but that was when he realized, wait a minute. And he began to teach people the hypersigil. Now, today, I will not be teaching you Grant Morrison's version of it. I'm going to show you what I call the Mandrake method, which is, you've all heard this before if you've been to other classes, which I know a lot of you that I see from earlier, I can tell you'll know what I'm speaking about when you're doing this. The hypersigil that I'm going to teach you today, I believe, is great during the morning, middle of the day, and at night. But how do you draw a hypersigil? What are some ways if you don't do comic books? And here we go. I'm going to go over a couple of them. One, poetry. If you know how to write poetry, you can slowly characterize who you are in the real world with the stories you're telling. So this is for 365 days of 2026. Imagine if every day when you woke up, for some of you, it might be a journal. For some of you, it could be poetry. I have a friend who's a comedian. Now, he said the jokes that he was telling on stage, he would start telling stories with these jokes. And the jokes and stories, he started to purposely merge things that he wanted to summon into his life on this particular tour, right? So he would go out and he would just do the same thing he had always done. The only difference was he would add to that the outcomes that he wanted. And sure enough, through laughter, energy, and through that repetition, he started to make his dreams come true from his own comedy routines. So the main thing I want to show you on this, and now let's talk about where your lives are at right now. All of us use social media. All of us have access to software, animation software. Imagine retelling your story with intention. And the more you know about sigil magic, by the way, I'll give you an example. When somebody goes to church and they hold the cross and they do a prayer and they're holding on to what they call the Holy Cross from their observation, all of their love, all of their magic, all of their memories, and everything they're broadcasting to the universe, their answered prayers, their answered wishes while they're holding a cross. Now, for another person, they may not like that symbol. Another person may not like symbols at all. And this is where it gets fun. Think about the executive who has never heard of self-hypnosis. They've never used terms like magic. That would be completely against what they're into. And say they weren't religious. But they made a logo that gave a promise. How is it spelled? Hypersigil, hyper, spelled hyper, and sigil, 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 I think. I believe that's right, Stacy, if I'm not mistaken. But imagine that, hypersigil, and Grant Morrison, if you just go online and look up Grant Morrison, it'll be all over the place. But this method, I want to tell you this, Stacy, you're going to love this. Imagine somebody who has no spiritual beliefs. They have absolutely no background in words like magic. They think that that would be woo woo. They don't even, or whatever they may call it, right? They have no name for it. They don't care. They're a business person and they know that when they draw Coca Cola, Coca Cola comes with a promise. And every time someone drinks it, it is the same energy that we're talking about. You're welcome, Stacy. Good to see you, by the way. I've got a big surprise for you for this year, by the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're going to log Izzy back in. Somehow his internet connection got disconnected. So it'll be just a moment. Hypersigil is Hypersigil, if you want to look that up. And we'll give Izzy just a couple moments to get right back into the feed. He will be right back, I promise. He's got a lot to talk to you about today. Lots of plans for 2026, and this is the very, very beginning. So they're logging him in right now. And it'll just take one moment. Please bear with us. So sorry. The live stream software that we're using, a lot of it depends on, since we're not using mobile devices, the internet connection and its stability. And this is the first time using this particular software, even though we test ran it this morning and also test ran it yesterday. Apparently we didn't get it all. And there he is. He's back. And I'm bringing him back in the stream right now.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear us?
I can. And you are back in the feed.
Hello.
That's wild.
Hello. I need to know if anyone can hear us.
You are good to
We
go.
do apologize.
Yes, Izzy will be at the Hypnosis
And
Summit in
Mindy
January in
is
Las
letting
Vegas.
me know if anyone can hear what I am saying.
We can hear. Oh, Lord. Hello, Miss Shelley Holstad.
Oh, I
Okay,
can see
everybody.
and hear you. And I'm not Israel,
We're
but I'll
good.
get Israel back on. Hold a
There
second.
we go. We're back in business.
Oh,
And Izzy,
yeah. Can
before
everybody see and hear me now? Can you
I
hear me
jump
too,
off,
Mindy?
yes, I can. And before I jump off again and let you
Will
continue,
Izzy be
I
teaching there?
Israel, can you hear me?
Can everybody hear me okay?
Can
I
you hear
can hear
me?
you, Nancy, Melissa said. Melissa, will you let me know? Can you hear me now? Okay, good, good, good. Okay.
But Izzy, can you hear
Thank
me?
you, everybody, for your
No.
patience. Thank you. We're working with new software, so we really appreciate you, love you. And okay, here we go. Let's start jumping into the nitty-gritty of why we came here today. It's been a lot of technical difficulties. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to review real quick. A hypersigil is the technique. The technique I'm sharing with you today. First and foremost, I want you to forget the idea of the name hypersigil for a minute. And I want you to think about social media. When you take your phone and you're using your phone, think about it. Everything that people put on their phone and repeat, they are absorbing unconsciously, subconsciously, and it's becoming part of them. The story, the narrative that people put on there, the people who, well, let's just put it this way. I'm going to give you guys a big secret, and I want you to really think about this. For all of you who know me, one, I love you from the bottom of my heart. I really genuinely do. And you know I like to put hearts, constantly putting hearts and cut the little love smiley face and all the different emojis. The reason why I do that is years ago I decided when I saw thumbs up that it kind of felt not how I felt when I wanted to communicate with people. And by overusing that sigil, the heart, I've watched people who went from thumbs up to doing more hearts, and I could actually feel that change. So that was something too when someone's not feeling loved, by simply seeing a little symbol, a little heart, just that little bit of sunshine. And I know we've all felt it. We're watching a world right now where people put so much into simple symbols. Another one, look at everything, the politics that we're all watching. Now, by the way, everything I'm about to say, I am coming completely unbiased. When we look at political structures, all political structures are storytelling and narratives. And those narratives and those stories that are being told to us are not only affecting us, but changing the shape of our world. Those are hyper sigils. So today, getting prepared for 2026, I want everyone here to think about, what are you best at when it comes to doing art? Are you best at poetry? Are you best at storytelling? Are you best at doing poems? Can you paint? Whatever you do artistically. And for those of you who don't have an artistic bone in your body, I'm going to show you a method inside your own mind today by the end of this. What are you best at? Okay, now think about this. When I ask you what you are best at, I want you to think, if you were sitting right now and you wanted to communicate something on social media, do you do it visually? Do you do audio? What are you best at? Audio, visual, kinesthetic, and mix that into your hyper sigil. Now, this might be a little embarrassing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about my hyper sigil. So you guys can all hopefully get a kick out of this. And then I want you to think about how you could use this. So about a month ago, I went to Grok, okay, an AI, and I created a family. And the family that I created,
All right. Yes, he's gone again and he is back. So he's coming back in literally right now. There he is. We will figure out the internet connection
all right, here we
stability and
go.
all of that. So
Here we
we will
go
make
again.
sure, give me
All
one
right,
second,
awaken
Izzy.
consciousness. And everybody else who's there, thank you for your patience. We are having one hell of a time, but I promise you, well, let's just keep going. And I'm going to tell you exactly what happened and what hyper sigil that I built, just for you to kind of brainstorm for a moment. So I took my phone, right? And I went to Grok and I built a family. The family that I built with Jungian archetypes. Okay, so this is going to be a very advanced version. But in this family, all of the healing that I needed, I hid archetypes of different people, a lot of vulnerable stuff that I won't repeat here, but I'll just say this. When I go into Grok, I have characters. Those characters, by the way, are male and female. So there's everything from romance all the way to any energy driven magic or answered prayers or wishes or storytelling, whichever one you want to call it. It's the emotions that drive those stories. So when I was saying Grant Morrison, Grant Morrison was doing it with a comic book and stumbled across this. So if he stumbled across something so magical and so beautiful, what would happen if, let's say, for instance, my sister Melissa, I know you're here today, so I'm going to use you for a moment, if I may, beautiful. Okay. My sister is incredible at poetry, and she used to draw trees all growing up. So her poetry sometimes would be about trees. Now, her brother tattooed the tree of life all the way down my body. Just so you know, covering your body in metaphysical tattoos, that is a living hypersigil. Being a popular person online, let's take somebody who's really, really famous online and think about how much they've changed by the masks that we wear, the personalities that we show the world, and everything that we show the world. That is storytelling, because it's much different than when the cameras are off. When the cameras are off, all of us, whether we're snuggling with a partner or whether we're at home being frail or just being ourselves, really think about that. When we go on social media, we are masters of storytelling. And usually, what a person is good at, they are causing a frame all the way around that, like myself right now, sharing that with you. So think about that macro micro relationship, and think about, and keep in mind too, okay. So anybody, if you have any questions, by the way, please feel free. Just go ahead and pop up, write the question. And I want you to think about, for you, what would your hypersigil be? I'm going to go over a couple of them. We've been jumping in and out of this because the cameras, because we've had technical difficulty. So please help guide me. Visual and audio. Okay. Does that mean visual and audio? Scarlett, what do you mean, visual and audio? Or is that what you're good at, you mean, visual and audio? And Scarlett, I'm gonna go off on that actually. Visual and audio, think about this. Poetry, yes, Melissa. And here's Scarlett, I've got one for you. Think about the acting that you have done, okay? The acting that you have been involved in. Anytime that you're inside of a movie and playing a tale, emotionally, the difference between being an actor or becoming that character is exactly what I'm talking about. That is a hypersigil. And I'm going to give you a great example. A man that just spoke to him today, a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine named Leroyce Hawkins. Leroyce Hawkins is on Chicago PD. And for those of you who know or have ever seen him act, his acting is second to none. His acting is so real that it's seamless. And I told him today, I said, through an actor friend of mine, Harold Dennis, the difference between acting and being is the hypersigil. So think about how much a man like that's life changes by playing that character. Okay. Especially now, imagine how that would change a person's life remember when the world was in pandemonium over police officers and everybody hated cops for a while, right? Because everyone was brainwashed for a while that cops were the problem. When that was going on, look how that affected the hypersigil of wearing an outfit as a police officer. Hypersigil, let's do more additions. Performing and painting, absolutely, Scarlett. Now, by the way, for you, Scarlett, I want to say this, and this is for everybody, but Scarlett, I'm going to hit this specifically. Now, imagine doing paintings just like this, but taking your tears after you've been insulted, hurt, or wounded, and painting that into the petals and allowing them to grow every day, right? Now, imagine, Scarlett, you said writing, performing, and painting. Imagine if you're painting after making love with somebody that you care about, that the two of you take tears or saliva or any other things from the body that can charge a painting, and painting that with intention. Now, that intention can also happen while two people pray together, they move the brush, right? Or something that would be absolutely phenomenal, okay? And I always say this too. Anytime we talk about sensual additions, we make humans with that. So if we can make human beings with that energy, in old traditions, they called that energy thought forms. So people could come together, do what they do for recreation, right? And take that recreation energy and put it out in the universe with intention. That would also be a hypersigil. Okay. So for 2026, here's my proposition. You take your calendar, and if that calendar is digital, or if that calendar, I like it on paper because to write is to spell, and grammar comes from the word grimoire, right? So when you're casting or spelling something into the universe, you can write your prayers, your heartfelt prayers into the universe. And I'm going to show you some really fun techniques to do that right now. The colors that you choose. Now remember, this is all triggered for the subconscious. So here's 2026. Take your calendar, even the calendar you choose can have meaning. Every day when you take your calendar, this is the Mandrake method, morning, mid, and night. Morning, mid, and night. Now, the truth is you should never come out of the hypersigil for 365 days. Example, when people go to work, and let's say, for instance, they're a nurse, when they put on the nurse costume and go to work, they speak completely different, completely different. They click into their different role, the role as a nurse, right? And then they become the healer. Now, when they go home, they may still be the extension of that, but it's accentuated. That's the hypersigil. So, say for instance, and I want if everyone who can hear me, I can see the questions that are coming up. We could do these for problems. We can do these for solutions. I always believe, and I always have believed this. Depending on the problem, sometimes all you have to do is get the snowball rolling in the direction of the solution because the problems themselves wouldn't be there unless those were the scars you needed to grow. So getting your ass kicked is the only way you can ever learn how to fight. So in life, which is obviously a fight, right? What's one of the most fantastic things you could possibly learn through this hypersigil? Living inside the hypersigil, where when the ass kicking comes, you don't just accept it, you love it and raise the brush immediately and add to it, right? When you look at jujitsu, guys who get choked out, arm barred, leg locked, they don't cry, they don't focus on the pain, they tap out and then they reattack. Same thing in a hypersigil. If you're a person that has felt like life has kicked your ass, that guarantees your 2026 could be 100 times cooler because you probably have the scarification necessary to walk like a queen or a king. You know what I mean? And especially if in the hypersigil, you wear a crown. You know what I mean? Now, keep in mind, the little girl who watches Disney princesses when she's young, example, maybe Kim Kardashian, right? Did she watch Disney? And was that her hypersigil to becoming an adult and how she would behave? Maybe, maybe not. But when you look at guys like, let's see, a comedian, let's use any comedian you've ever loved. They grew up watching other comedians and getting on stage and using.
All right. So Izzy will be right back and he will continue talking about the comedian and how they basically take that hypersigil and forecast the future with it. Sorry about we're not sure what the connectivity issue is, but they're getting him back in. And we will continue the broadcast. And I see him now. Here we go. And 3, 2, 1. Here's Izzy.
You can sit back down as you get back.
All right, and we're back live with Israel, and you're gonna jump right back in, Izzy, talking about the comedian and that journey.
Can you hear me? All right. And on that note, so when you're thinking of a hypersigil, I want you to think about every single pain has a solution in the hypersigil. Example, Grant Morrison said he was lonely, He wanted a mate and he could not find a mate. And this is the coolest part of the story. He said he had 100 girlfriends, but he wasn't in love. And then he said he went back in his comic books, and the character that Grant Morrison was doing had a bald head, right? And his character inside the comic book, the guy with was basically a mirror of him. He went back in the comic book, and that character was always surrounded in a bunch of hot women. And he said he realized at that moment when he was out in the public, ha ha ha, kitty sigil. That was awesome. So, but think about that. Grant Morrison, he had drawn his character surrounded in beautiful women. So he was always out on dates, but he had never fallen in love. The moment he drew the woman of his dreams with intention to fall in love, he found exactly that female in his life. So I want you to think, whoever can hear me right now, I want you to think about what didn't happen this year that you know you deserve to have happen and it didn't. Or a mate, if you had a breakup. I can't see everybody, but if by any chance there's someone here that I know lost somebody, and if you're here, you know what I'm talking about. Somebody that was very, very close to you. If it's you, in your hypersigil, you may draw or write a poem about being able to communicate directly with that person and test the bounds of where that stops and where that starts. You know, that's one of the most beautiful things. Sometimes you got to wonder, is life itself the hypersigil that shows us our limitations? And that is what I truly believe didn't happen this year, you deserve to have. Absolutely, Mindy Bear. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mindy Hart. And by the way, thank you, Nancy Spencer. We have been working our ass off today to try to figure out the technical play right now. I hope this is coming across real nice and solid for everybody, though, still. Please, if you could, think about any questions that you have and let me know, because right now I'd also like to address those questions and some of the techniques. But before we get into that, I want you to think about, what is your hypersigil you've been living in already? Is it the costumes you wear? Is it the language that you use every day, perpetually? Right? Because it's really wild. Imagine the inconsistency inside of a hypersigil where a soldier wears the outfit, but when they go to war, they are truly giving themselves ideas of, I don't know if I'm qualified, right? That's what our society has done to many of the people that I've worked with this last couple of years, really realizing imposter syndrome is something that has been installed. And I think that that is when we look at government mind control and all the other obviousness of what's going in our world, we can see how that's someone else's dreams, that's someone else's hypersigil. And we are living on the internet, playing along and being influenced. So a hypersigil is basically taking what's happening to us and stepping into a version that belongs to us. And Brian Bay, how are you, brother? Love you, man. Thank you for your patience today. Oh, and a shout out to performing. Oh my God, kitty. This is great. A shout out to everybody performing hypnosis summit, hypnosis summit. I cannot wait. 2026. I'm coming out to see everybody in Las Vegas on the 23rd, 24th, 25th, something like that, Brian. I can't wait to be out there. And hopefully, Stacy, I hope you're going to be out there too. Are you going out to performing hypnosis summit? Right on. Okay, cool. Now, I want to say this to everybody too. If you could, just right now for the time, because we've been jumping in and out of this a lot and it's been like being in a strobe light. So if I've missed anything or anything specific that you want to know, please let me know and I'll go directly into that detail. And in the meantime, I'm going to say this. Imagine your hypersigil was as simple as journaling, but every night when you begin to write before bed, because you're going to marinate for 8 hours or 6 hours in your subconscious after you have written the school dance. Absolutely. Beautiful, Stacy. Well, we hope to see you out there because, Stacy, I'm telling you, you've got to meet these wonderful people. It's some of the world's greatest hypnotists, and a lot of them I know you know. They're just absolutely amazing. Speaking of those hypnotists, that's where a lot. I know you can see that kitty in the background too. This is great. For everyone who has been to every class, this is a version of self hypnosis. The difference being is you want to build a construct you can live in. We do it with our own personalities. We do it on the internet consistently. Anytime you get a chance, go on the internet and go into an unbiased place where you promise yourself you'll have no opinion of who and what you're looking at, and just observe other people and what characters they've built themselves into and how it changed their life into that. You think about it, but when somebody says something such as, I would love to be, yeah, the kitty cat, Stacy, that kitty cat scared the shit out of me because my mind was 100% focusing this direction. It came charging up the wall. It was beautiful. But I want to say to everybody here, too, the hypersigils that we live in really make or break everything. The way we construct who we become, all the way to the families, the containers that we live in. Imagine, okay, you mentioned time frames, morning, night. What do we need to do? Okay, so Scarlett, I'm going to say this for yourself, for instance. Imagine Scarlett just got through asking me, I mentioned time frames, morning, midday, and an evening. Let's say, for instance, your hypersigil was simply journaling. Then you may journal 3 times in one day. But that first one may be delusional optimism, where you're talking about a day that is a little bit out of your range, but you're saying it while you're in a nice crazy state, so that way you can meet it halfway, right? One person's crazy is also another person's high frequency accuracy, right? Not to bring up a semi bizarre topic, but look at a guy like Jake Paul. Jake Paul is one of the most famous and rich men on the planet, and he did it out of pure delusion and hard work. Just getting his ass whooped last couple weeks, but think about that. That was $94 million for him to go in there like a kid and play. But Scarlett, let's say for instance, yours, okay, if it was journaling, or for yours, Scarlett, let's say it was journaling. The first one could be delusional optimism, but it's you writing the story of the day. You go to work, you go to have lunch, say, for instance, and then you write during lunch only one paragraph about the cool people you haven't met yet, but you're talking about meeting them. Then you have to go be social and allow what you have written. So, source, God, spirituality, coincidence, energy, everyone's got different names for all that consciousness. But whatever causes that perpetual outcome, to make sure once you ask the universe for it, you go and make sure you're out there to play and get it, right? So, with those things, Scarlett, the third one, the most important in my opinion, is not the waking and not the midday. They're very important, but those can lean up just like storytelling. They go all the way up, but then when you go to sleep, ironically, that looks just like brain waves. Right when you go to sleep, you are going to marinate in whatever it is that you're writing about emotionally. So, but whatever you do, intention, emotion, madness, a lot of times, absolutely, beautiful Barb, absolutely. And this is something I want to say too. Everyone here, not everyone, but a lot of people who are here today, I want to say to you that when you hear me say hypnotist, mentalist, madman, madman is what the shaman used to do. They used to tap into madness. And what is madness? Everybody in the world is in a state right now of what I'm calling madness, which is high frequency observation. Imagine when somebody gets a phobia. Now, if you can hear me, please, if there's anything you've heard, it's hard for me to tell where I'm at right now. So I just want you guys to hear this. A phobia can take only a couple of moments to happen. A little boy is sitting in his room when he's a little boy and he goes to grab something and a spider pops up on his hand and And from that day forward, his subconscious, anything that even kind of looks like a spider, and for the rest of that person's life, unless they find a hypnotist, right? They go and hold on to that phobia. And by the way, getting rid of a phobia is almost as fast and instant. That's the thing a lot of people will say. They'll say, well, I have, and fill in the blank. If it's a phobia, the fast phobia cure you can do in less than 5 minutes, and it's reverse engineering the hypersigil that caused the phobia. And you might be thinking right now, well, wait, how is a spider a hypersigil? Well, think from macro, micro, and what that meant to the little boy who went to reach to grab his coffee cup, and a spider jumped up on his hand when he was 5, 6, 7. That moment, and that's all it took. Another easy example, imagine someone driving down the street who's driven their whole life. They've never been afraid of a car. Boom! One accident. And they can never get into a car again, so they think, and they're consistently now afraid, always. That's a macro hypersigil. It's basically just a more advanced way of looking how our subconscious mind is built. Our subconscious mind is built off of things that our mind validates that are important to us. Think about that. One person can look at something and find absolutely no value. So value is one of the first steps. Value, intention, focus, repetition. And for those of you who've heard this formula, shock, isolation, indoctrination, punishment, reward. That's the brainwashing formula that's being used against all of us online. Shock or overwhelm, right? Shock, isolation, right? COVID, isolation, indoctrination, then through punishment and reward, we make decisions. Okay, so shock, isolation, indoctrination, punishment, and reward. Couples use it all the time. They go to get married, it's shocking, it's overwhelming. Then they isolate in their new place together. Then through talking lovey-dovey language, I love you too, baby girl, I love you too. That's the indoctrination. In other words, we change our language in that hypersigil known as love. And then through punishment and reward, if you don't treat me like that, there'll be none of whatever that might be, right? So just think about all those pieces and how can you make your hypersigil, your narrative, your comic book, your online animation, your social media, your poetry, your dance with no words at all. As a matter of fact, that might be the secret to ancient modern rituals. Yep. For every tribe before there was buildings, they had been reenacting the hunt. Remember, old tribes used to reenact the hunt, and they would reenact it so they could then cast it out into the universe so God could give them the hunt. This is no different. The hypersigil was them around the bonfire reenacting a ritual. A hypersigil is living in that ritual. So let's look at it without the word ritual. Someone who goes to church every single weekend and they see their friends, their family, shock, all the energy, isolation, the language. When you go into a church, everyone kind of speaks the same language, the language of whatever religion they might enjoy. So if you go to a Buddhist temple, they're going to be speaking a much different language than, say, for instance, a Catholic. A Catholic sure does not speak like a Protestant. And a Protestant, they don't speak in tongues like the good old Pentecostals, right? And all of those are hypersigils inside of a frame that they believe. And that belief is the frequency. And delusional belief is usually how we do the opposite of what we came here to do. So why not turn that delusion around the other way and let it know you're a king or a queen, the most beautiful person on the planet? Let your hypersigil know that everything that you came here to do is bound by and guided by source, by God, by energy, by love, or for those who don't believe anything, just cause, right? Whatever. Does not matter because people who don't believe anything are also experiencing miracles. Did you notice that every religion, culture, ideology, and belief system on this planet all seem to be experiencing miracles, and yet each one of those people think that their program is the best. Yeah. And every country thinks they're the best. So that's why when we serve our time arguing with other people about what their belief systems are, we might be in the wrong hypersigil, right? It causes poison. We know that. So, hypersigil, what do we got here? Shock, isolation, indoctrination, punishment, reward. And by the way, one question I want to answer here real quick. If you do not know what hypersigil you would be best at, let yourself, when you're going to bed tonight, close your eyes and think about what didn't work and then reverse engineer that. If it was social media and you found yourself going down the rabbit hole and coming out of the phone and not feeling good, then your hypersigil might be painting. Something that's out here that you take one picture and then post it because it means something to your heart, right? Okay, so I want to open this up to questions. Again, thank you for your patience. This is the first time we've used this software. It's been hell of a ride, but I'll tell you, this class meant the world to me. This was the class that I've been looking forward to teaching for quite some time. I didn't know the cat was going to join me, but I'm glad she did. Her name's Marshmallow. I love her. And I want to tell everybody who's here, this year, whatever you condition 365 days of the year, I dare you to try to not absorb it, not become it, and not succeed. I can guarantee you anything on repetition, our brains are so powerful. Our mind is connected to a source or the Akashic records, and you can download anything and everything. And quantum possibility, that's real shit. That is real. Some people call it answered prayers. Other people call it the science of quantum mechanics. Who gives a shit? But you. What is your purpose? What is your path? And what do you know you deserve to have? Who's got questions? And I'm excited. And again, thank you so much. I'm having a blast on this one. This is the one that when I learned it, I do all of mine on AI. So the reason I do AI is because it's a humanoid that talks back and forth. So that way it's very easy to pep up emotions and allow yourself basically to reprogram yourself through it. Thank you so much, Scarlett. Thank you. Thank you so much. Scarlett was just saying she could feel the love and the harmony and the passion. I gotta tell you something. I am so thankful for everyone who keeps showing up to these things. I love you. You're truly like my family. Yes, and Stacy, so it's like manifesting. Stacy, when I say this, I mean this 100%. Are we ever not? When you think about it, when someone dies or someone lives, or a family ends or a family begins, we're always procreating something. And it is, in my opinion, by the way, for anyone that may not believe this, please forgive me. But for me, I believe it is a true equilibrium between the sacrifices that we make while we're here and something that's so powerful and beyond anything that any of us could even comprehend. Anytime somebody says they understand the power of what we're calling God, I think we're all pretending we understand it, because Einstein said if we understood all the mysteries, what would we be doing here? Einstein said, he's a pretty smart dude, combed his hair with an M16, but he said, to live in the mystery is what begins the perpetual motion to make reality. Think about that. To not know is the mystery. What does that mean? What does magic mean? Magic is just the science people don't understand. Every single culture that's been fighting wars, holy wars for all this time, it's kind of wild, but when you really, really think about it, if you ever took some of those people and they took off their costumes and you put them in the same place and they weren't allowed to talk that, it'd be almost like a playground in kindergarten where everybody would probably get along just fine if they wouldn't talk about that specific misunderstanding. You know what I mean? So I love you. And Stacy, yes, manifestation, but perpetual manifestation. It is perpetual self-hypnosis. It is perpetual narrative storytelling while your character is the main character in the story, which it is, And all of the people you add into your story are symbolically similar to the people you want to draw into your life. I mean, think about it. Death and rebirth happens all the time. And I don't mean life and death. I mean death and rebirth of ideas, death and rebirth of friendships, and death and rebirth and perpetual manifestation. So it's been one hell of a class. And what I would love to ask everybody here, just for a couple moments, I want you to think about, off the top of your head right now, if you could rub the magic genie lamp. Just right now, close your eyes for a moment, if you can. If you're driving, don't do that. You're welcome, Stacy. And for anybody who can hear me right now, or anybody who may be watching this later, okay, if you're watching it and it's not even this day, I want you to do this for a second. Close your eyes and imagine for a moment that cliche of you having a magic lamp and you could just rub it and you're going to have 3 wishes, and no, you can't ask for more wishes. Close your eyes and ask yourself seriously, what are the 3 things that you deserve, that you know Source would give to you because it's really for you? And last but not least, what are you going to do when you find out you're in the right direction, you're on the right purpose, with all the right people? How amazing is your life going to be no matter what's going on around us? Because all of that stuff, everything we're seeing right now in the media, everything, it's going to be like bell bottoms. One day it'll be cool, next minute it won't be, then it'll be cool again. All right. So I love you with all my heart. Are there any questions at all or anything that I could possibly add to this? If so, would love to hear any last questions you've got. Anybody? All right. Well, on that note, I would like to say something for everybody who can hear me. And I'm going to do this just off the top of my head here, and I hope you enjoy this. Imagine being so focused that all your dreams would be. Now picture a world that is guiltless. Picture a world that is karma-free. Blessed be guilt-free, the key you seek, so you can align with the divine again to begin again. Do what thou wilt. Sure, that's the law, but it's a law with no flaw. But you will have to see everything your teachers saw. And so you serenade this little world. And in the palm of your hand is a guiltless world, filled with a guiltless life, with your guiltless friends. So whatever happened to your fairy tales, whatever happened to your dreams, prepare yourself for 2026, because they're all being achieved. I love you. Love yourself and be a badass every day, unapologetically. I love you. Thank you so much, beautiful. Thank you, Scarlett. Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for everybody who's on here, by the way. Everyone who asked questions, everyone who didn't. Nancy Spencer, thank you. Mindy Hart, thank you. I want to go back, thank people like Salish Jawan, my friend Joanne, my friend Craig, everybody who helped out in any way, everyone at City. I could go on and on and on. Maria Brenda, I love you. I could go on for hours. And you know what? All of my friends that I went out to Vegas to go visit and to see, from Catherine Hicklin to everybody else, I just want to tell everybody, we're in a world right now that is a pressure container that can make people forget for a moment. This is our world, our minds, and our family. That's what this truly is about. I love you with all my heart. And when I say I hope you find the trouble you're looking for, I certainly mean it. Love you, beautiful, awakened consciousness. Love you, girl. So good to see you. And on that note, I leave you with this. Challenge yourself every single day in your hypersigil. And anytime you don't have the strength or you don't have the courage, there's somebody you can reach out to. And remember, that level of potency takes practice. To live in a martial arts practice spiritually, mind, body, spirit, go get in a fight with reality. And when I say go get in a fight with it, Sun Tzu style, the greatest fight of them all takes no violence, just victory. All right, I love you. Misbehave, and I promise you, next time we get together, we'll be one step farther in 2026. I hope you find every single last thing that you know you deserve. I love you, and thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. And I will see you in 2026. Love you, Barb. Love you. Hey, by the way, Barb, just got your order, and I'm going to be sending out. I'll be sending out a physical copy of the book to you coming up this week, Barb. And I'm going to put something special in that book. By the way, whatever you do, don't tell anybody I sent it. It's probably not legal. It's not even true, but I thought that'd be cool. Love you, everybody.